Everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Priya and in today's video I'm going to be using alcohol markers to create this illustration of these birds. Now I haven't used my alcohol markers in a long time. I've been using a lot of watercolors and gouache lately and even some color pencils and even acrylics, but I haven't used my alcohol markers. So I was thinking the other day that I felt like using a medium that I haven't used for a while, and alcohol markers came to my mind. So I got them out and I got some reference photos and I just started drawing. So I am using marker paper for this illustration, or for these illustrations, and I'm using a graphite pencil to just basically get the initial sketch down just for proportions, and then I lighten it up and then I go in with my markers. Now I would always tell you, if you are an artist that uses alcohol markers, I would highly recommend using marker paper, because marker paper really has benefits to it. Like the one I'm using now is the touch paper, and this paper is no bleed through. It's completely bleed proof, and it also is very smooth. The paper is very thin. It almost feels like tracing paper, but it doesn't bleed through at all. It's smooth, so I get smooth blending, as well as I can add multiple layers of ink or marker onto the marker ink onto the paper, and it takes it fine. And also another thing is that you preserve the life of your marker, because you're saving on the ink from the marker, because using regular paper, it absorbs a lot of the marker, but with marker paper you can use just a little bit markers and or ink from the marker, and you can get your drawing done, and you're not having the paper absorb a whole lot of your ink from your markers, so it makes them last longer. So I am using a regular sheet of print paper underneath my paper, just because it is very thin, and I am working on a textured wooden surface for my table, so I just don't want those lines and textures of the paper or the wood to go through onto my final drawing. So I just got that paper underneath just to prevent that from happening. But otherwise I would highly recommend, if using alcohol markers, use marker paper. I do have a video on my channel. If you go to my homepage, you'll find my playlist on markers, and you'll see me using the markers to create all different papers to create my illustrations, and I try out all different papers and give you my thoughts on it, on what I feel about each one. So if you want to see that video, you can watch that on my channel. So yeah, back to trying out some supplies. So I would highly recommend for us as artists that we try out things that are slightly out of our comfort zone. So maybe it's trying a different medium, something we haven't used before, or maybe something we've used before but we never liked, or maybe something we haven't used for a long time. Maybe changing our techniques, maybe changing the style that you are painting or drawing in, or maybe trying a different subject, maybe painting something that you is new to you, that you haven't painted or drawn before. Sometimes even just using a different color palette that you normally don't gravitate towards can help you create this new refreshing new outlook on your art, make you feel more creative, make you feel more inspired, and also help you discover maybe a medium that you truly enjoy using. Like with this illustration, I did not go in with any thought of what the final result is going to be like, or what I wanted it to look like, and I wanted them not to look too cartoony. So I just went ahead and started drawing them and layering the markers and creating the feathers and the textures and the depth. And I knew they're going to look illustrative because I'm using markers, but I didn't want them to look too cartoony. I wanted them to look a bit more realistic, which is why I added so many layers. And I was really surprised by the final result. And I enjoyed the entire process so thoroughly, because if you're an artist and if you ever felt that you've lost track of time while you were painting and drawing, and hours have passed, or longer than you expected has passed, and you even maybe lost track of where you are, that really is a fulfilling feeling as an artist. And I think that really helps me to feel so inspired and excited to create, because when you lose track of time, you really enjoy the process, irrespective of what you're doing. If you lose track of time, you were really enjoying whatever it is that you were doing. And for artists, I think that's a really fulfilling, exciting feeling, because when I was working with these markers, I actually felt the way I did when I first used them. I felt that happiness and excitement and joy that they gave me when I used them the first time. And I really think that was so exciting for me, and it was such a good feeling. And I was so lost in the process that, as I said, time just passed and I didn't even realize it. I was just so lost in creating. And I think that's the best feeling For me at least, that's the best feeling as a creative one, as an artist, is when you lose track of time, because for me that really means I've enjoyed the process of creating, and I was not having any frustration or worry about what it's going to look like, and whether it turned out good or bad, I was not paying attention to that. I only went in with the thought of, I want to draw these birds, I want to use alcohol markers, and I want them to look somewhat realistic, as realistic as I could get markers to look, especially that I haven't used them for a long time. So I was really excited about it, and I enjoyed the process, and I was really surprised by the result. I was happy with all of them. They all came out really nice, and I really was proud of myself, and I felt so fulfilled and happy about the results. And I think that is what we as artists look for. We sometimes we start stressing and getting worried about what it's going to turn out like, and we sometimes just need to let go and just create, and we'll be surprised at the results that we get and what we're able to achieve by letting go of that frustrations and stress and worry about the final result and getting everything perfect, and not worrying about perfection and just getting in there and creating. And I think that's something that I really experienced with this piece. So if you got a lot of different art supplies and you haven't used some for a long time, I would highly recommend going through your art supplies, see which one calls to you and which one you feel like really using, and which whatever makes you happy and really excites you, and grab the supply and just create with it. Or if there's a supply that you've always wanted to use and you've never really tried it, just buy a few colors of it and then just play around with it and have fun with it. Remember, being a creative and being an artist doesn't have to be stressful. It's supposed to be a relaxing time, something to unwind and relax and enjoy, and just let your inner artist and your creative side show through. So I think that's important for us as artists to do, is to keep that creativity flowing, and sometimes just by changing things that you normally do, getting a little out of your comfort zone. As I said before, trying new styles, techniques, colors, subject matters, all of those can help you to develop as an artist, at the same time also fulfill you as an artist and help you feel more creative, get your creative juices flowing, get that inspiration hitting you, and that need to create and that wanting to create and enjoy the process. And if you're going through artist block, or you having a difficulty thinking of ideas, it can really jumpstart your creativity and help you to pass that and just get back to creating. So I highly recommend trying out using a supply you haven't used before, or something that you've not used for a long time, or just changing up your drawing or painting, sketching, just do something different that it's a little bit out of your comfort zone. That's very, very important for us as artists, because we can learn a lot from just venturing out and trying something different. It may seem scary, and you may worry that it won't turn out well, but don't really think about that. Just think about the creativity process, and that you're creating something. And that's the wonderful thing about being an artist. We create things that don't exist and that never existed before. This drawing or this sketch, even if it's just a doodle, it never existed before. And you are bringing it as an artist to life. You bring it into this world, you're creating it, and you bring it to life, and you're sharing it with the world. And that's such a beautiful thing, that us as artists, we can get to create beautiful things that people can appreciate, and people can look at these beautiful images and these paintings and drawings and sketches, get inspired, find the beauty in them, just enjoy them. And we allow that to happen by creating. And we ourselves can go through our own artwork and feel inspired. I sometimes just go through all my sketchbooks, and my own sketchbooks inspire me. So, as artists, I think we always look to the outside world to give us inspiration and, motivate us to create art. And I think sometimes you just need to look at your own art, go through your own artworks, see what you've created. And you honestly, I can tell you, I've done this. I've looked through my artworks and my sketchbooks and my paintings and my drawings, and I've gone through them, and sometimes I just go through all of them and something triggers off inspiration in me, or I remember something that I created, and that creates an idea or a thought in my mind that I want to create now or recreate, or I want to use maybe a technique I use for that medium, I want to use it for another medium. and it really can be like a ripple effect, and it can really create this momentum of you creating and get your creative juices flowing, and get your creativity going. So I think that's something that a lot of us don't do. We only look for inspiration maybe from nature, and there's nothing wrong with finding inspiration from outside. I'll do it all the time. I find inspiration from nature. Sometimes I just watch an art video and it inspires me from my favorite artists, or artists that I look up to and that I get inspired by and that I admire. And there's nothing wrong with that. Looking at artworks from other artists that you admire, getting inspired by that, listening to music and getting inspiration, watching movies and getting inspiration. It can come from so many ways, inspiration, but I think we also need to spend some time sometimes just looking at our own art. And also, sometimes just going through your art helps you to look at how far you've actually come and how much you've learned and how much you've grown as an artist. And I think that can be feeling of such a rewarding feeling when you actually see where you've started at and where you've come to now, and how much you've learned and how much you've grown. And I think that can really help motivate you, because you feel proud of yourself that you've come a long way and you've created a lot and you've done so much of artwork. And you can look at your whole your basically your art um, library that you've created, and you can just see how much you've created, and you can get inspired by that and get ideas from that, and then obviously bring it to life onto paper and into the world and show. If you want to show it to people, you can. If you don't want to share it, you don't have to, but you bring this piece of art into the world for yourself, and like me, I bring it for others as well, to bring you inspiration and just to create something that I love doing, creating art and making things that look beautiful, that people can admire and appreciate. And I myself can admire and appreciate the art as well. As artists, we need to sometimes venture out of our comfort zones, try things that we are not comfortable with, like trying new supplies, new subject matters, new techniques, and learning new things. And that can really help to get our creative juices flowing and help to inspire us, and also just enjoying the process of creating and not worrying about the final result. Remember, art is supposed to be an enjoyable, relaxing process, and the whole activity of creating is supposed to be relaxing. So don't think about the final result. Don't worry about perfection. You will learn as you progress and as you create. But just get started creating and just enjoy the process. Let yourself get lost in the process. Enjoy everything about your creativity and your process of creating, and just have fun with it. That's the most important. So I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful and inspirational. If you have, don't forget to like and share. Feel free to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more art videos. Till the next one. Bye.